Tanse, I'm TR Wheatley. Welcome to APTN National News. After a ruckus day in the Ontario legislature on Wednesday with the passing of Bill 5, things were much quieter on Thursday. In spite of protests from First Nations and opposition parties, the Ford government rammed through the controversial legislation. It aims to create special economic zones in areas such as the Ring of Fire, where government and industry will be able to bypass environmental laws in order to speed up development. The legislation would affect a number of First Nations in Northern Ontario who have rallied against it, saying the Progressive Conservatives failed to consult them before drafting the bill. Speaking from his Queen's Park office, NDP MPP Saul Mamakwa says the government appears to have underestimated the resilience of First Nations.
First Nations are already to defend their treaty rights. They're ready to defend, their Aboriginal title. They're ready to defend their land, and I think that's something that the governments, their systems, will clash with our systems.
The National Chief of the Assembly of First Nations met with Prime Minister Mark Carney on Wednesday to discuss possible federal legislation to fast-track infrastructure projects to strengthen Canada's economy. A statement from National Chief Cindy Woodhouse-Nepenak reads in part, "The Assembly of First Nations remains deeply concerned about the lack of time and appropriate process to carry out the Crown's consultation and consent obligations, especially given the potentially massive impact on the rights of First Nations." The statement goes on to say the AFN will hold a virtual forum with chiefs on the matter. AFN executive will also discuss potential legal implications and next steps before July's Assembly. Woodhouse-Nepenak and Carney also touched on the impacts of wildfires, the climate crisis, and the infrastructure gap within First Nations. To the wildfire situation now. So far, more than 650 Manitobans have been deployed to fight wildfires across the province, and more than 175 people have come from out of province to help. But provincial government officials say despite all hands on board, they plan to keep fighting the fires for quite some time. At a wildfire update on Thursday, provincial officials shared there are currently 12 out-of-control wildfires in Manitoba, with 9 being actively fought due to their proximity to communities. 2 wildfires near Flin Flon have now merged together to create the largest at more than 300 hectares. They say a number of structures there have been destroyed, but are not aware of any wildfire-related losses in Pimbichikamak or Puckatawagan. Around 18,000 evacuees are registered with Red Cross for shelter and support. Daily stipends from the federal and provincial governments will be administered through Red Cross to registered evacuees in the coming days. They say current cooler weather has helped the fight.
We have had cooler temperatures, a little bit higher humidity. Winds generally have been fairly low to moderate. We are expecting that general trend to continue, which will be helpful for our efforts. There is precipitation in the forecast on the weekend for some areas of Manitoba, including areas where we have fires in the northwest as well as the east. At this time, those precipitation amounts are pretty variable and uncertain. So I'd like to remind Manitobans that just because you might see a blob of rain on that precipitation map, that's not going to be enough to put out these fires.
As evacuees are now getting settled in Winnipeg, the Winnipeg Police Service and the RCMP have dedicated extra resources to provide support to evacuees and to protect vulnerable populations from exploitation. At a Thursday news conference, WPS Superintendent of Community Engagement Bonnie Emerson said the police have mobilized extra patrols, cars, and an Indigenous liaison team to visit evacuation centers and hotels. Inspector John Lutz said police responded to 70 dispatch calls and conducted 160 proactive engagements at evacuee sites on Thursday. Evacuees are encouraged to report suspicious activity to the police and reach out if they need assistance. RCMP Inspector Catherine Light said about 3,000 evacuee safety brochures have been shared with the Red Cross and distributed to evacuation centers.
These enhanced safety measures and awareness campaigns are required, critically important, because we know criminals often take advantage of people during times of crisis. This includes youth, the elderly, or people who are going through a difficult time and when they're vulnerable. We are all here to help. That's why we're here today. It's important for all evacuees to know that help is available. Don't be afraid to speak up. If you feel unsafe, unsure, or overwhelmed, we are here to help.
To other news now, Saskatoon police say they're investigating the discovery of human remains just outside of the city. On June 4, investigators secured a scene near Highway 7, just west of the city, where the remains were found. The identity is not yet confirmed. Major crimes forensics and the coroner are working to determine the cause of death and if foul play was involved. No further information is available, but police say they will provide updates. Anyone with information is asked to contact Saskatoon Police or Crime Stoppers. Jonathan Joss, the actor perhaps best known for voicing John Redcorn on the animated sitcom King of the Hill, was killed in a shooting on June 1st in San Antonio, Texas. APTN Sav Jonza has more on this story.
Jonathan Joss was John Redcorn in the animated sitcom King of the Hill. The 59-year-old Comanche and Apache actor was shot and killed on Sunday in San Antonio, Texas. His husband, Tristan Kern de Gonzalez, took to Facebook alleging that Joss's death was a homophobic hate crime. In the post, he says his husband was, quote, murdered by someone who could not stand the sight of two men loving each other. Gonzalez says he and Joss were checking the mail of their former home, which burned to the ground and killed their dog in January when the shooting occurred. He alleges the couple experienced homophobic harassment from people in the area for over 2 years, but no action was taken by police when reported. A neighbor, Sigfrido Alvarez Sija, has been charged with felony first-degree murder in connection with Joss's death. There are multiple news reports that Alvarez Sija confessed. The following Monday, San Antonio police said in a statement that their investigation has, quote, found no evidence to indicate that Mr. Joss's murder was related to his sexual orientation. Later this week, San Antonio Police Chief William McManus walked back on that release.
We issued a statement, I believe it was the day after Jonathan Joss's murder, that was way premature. Shouldn't have done it. It was way too soon before we had any real information.
McManus did not say if they have since found evidence of homophobia, but says the murder and house fire investigations are still active. He clarified that police forces in Texas do not charge offenders with hate crimes. That is determined by the district attorney at sentencing. Chief McManus did say that 70 calls were made to police by Joss and neighbors over the past 2 years due to what he called neighborhood-type disturbances. Sav Jonza, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
To the north now, where the government of Nunavut has issued a health advisory after a caribou tested positive for rabies. In April of this year, a caribou died after it was seen attacking heavy equipment in Coral Harbor. It later tested positive for rabies. The Department of Health says to dispose of meat harvested from animals suspected of having rabies. If you have been attacked by an animal with rabies, go to your local health center immediately because rabies infections have a high mortality rate. Animals that behave strangely, aggressively, and are frothing at the mouth should be avoided and reported to the Wildlife Office at 867-857-4444. Time for a quick break. When we come back, we'll tell you about a sticker campaign here in Winnipeg. Stay with us. Pitigwe, welcome back. A Mi'kmaq group has received funding from Environment Canada and Climate Change to purchase and protect some coastal lands along the Bay of Fundy. The Signigduk is a Mi'kmaq-led climate action project. It received over $900,000 over 3 years to protect the New Brunswick coastline of the Upper Bay of Fundy and to purchase 100 hectares of land that will be donated to a Mi'kmaq land trust by 2030. The project is partnered with the Elsipogtog Mi'kmaq Nation to restore and protect salt marshes, which store carbon and protect the coast. The founder of Signigduk is Lyle Vicaire. He hopes this project will help promote Indigenous conservation.
Indigenous-led conservation, Mi'kmaq, Edewaptumuk seeing a lot of these concepts are coming out into light. You know, like a lot of indigenous people are being trained in sciences and using indigenous knowledge, what we were taught, and with stuff we're being taught in the sciences, and doing these initiatives is part of that whole grand scheme, as how I see it.
If you happen to be in Winnipeg and see a sticker with a positive message on a transit bus or even somewhere around the downtown area, it was most likely put there by Vinnie Lilly, who says his stickers are making an impact. But as our intern Dylan Cloud reports, Winnipeg Transit isn't so happy about Lilly's campaign.
4 years, Vinnie Lilly has been in downtown Winnipeg actively promoting his motivational sticker campaign.
I have had some negative situations with bus drivers where they really acted angry towards me.
He puts the stickers on public transit buses and property to spread positive messages. But for Lilly, reminders like "You matter" are important for people to see.
I was one of those people that was struggling on the bus, you know, and having those thoughts, and everybody is on the bus going to work or coming from work, and they see these stickers and it says something like "You are loved," you know, and they see that and they're struggling with feeling loved, and they feel like that message is to them.
Winnipeg Transit says it's just more to clean up. In an emailed statement to APTN News, a Winnipeg Transit spokesperson, Brandon Logan, wrote that they are overwhelmed with graffiti, with more than 1,500 instances since January 2025. At Winnipeg Transit, our staff works incredibly hard to ensure our buses and shelters are as clean as possible for riders. While we appreciate that stickers are sharing positive messages, we encourage Winnipeg Transit riders not to put stickers or any other materials on our properties, as that is a form of graffiti. Lilly says he respects the work the cleaners put in to keep the buses tidy, but will keep sharing his message of love and confidence in hopes someone will see them before they are taken down.
The reaction that I have every single day from people messaging me and talking to me and telling me, thanking me for the stickers that they do see everywhere, I think that obviously just even strengthens the passion that I have, because I do realize that the effect that it has had on me in my life, that's where my passion comes from, and I know that it really does help people.
If you see the stickers on your way to work or school, now you know the face behind them. Dylan Cloud, APTN National News, Winnipeg.
Now we want to tell you about this week's web poll questions. First, we asked, does the medical assistance in dying law align with your community's traditional beliefs? Yes, no, or unsure. Our second question was, do you expect Canada and the provincial governments to honor treaty rights when planning resource projects? Yes, no, or not all projects. And lastly, we asked, do you feel the government is providing adequate support to First Nations as wildfires burn across the country? Yes, no, or unsure. You could go to our website, aptnnews.ca/polls to cast your ballot. Time for one last break. When we come back, Dennis Ward introduces you to a Red River Métis artist who's put out some new music. Be right back. Starting on the East Coast, Charlottetown 19, Fredericton 24. Kuujjuaq 4, Nain 9. Quebec City 21, Val-d'Or 22. North Bay 19, Sault Ste. Marie 14. Big Trout Lake 14, Kapuskasing 17. Churchill 13, Thompson 13. Gimli 19, Brandon also 19. North Battleford 18, Regina 22. Uranium City 16, Buffalo Narrows 16. Fort Chipewyan 21, Peace River also 21. Red Deer 24, Lethbridge 22. Bella Coola 21, Campbell River 24. Fort Nelson 20, Prince Rupert 13. Rock River 8, Mayo 16. Norman Wells 17, Fort Simpson 16. Tuktoyaktuk 4, Colville Lake 13. Cambridge Bay 2, Bakers Lake 10. Clyde River 5, Iqaluit 8. Red River Métis artist Brandy Vzina is back with some new music. Grit and Glamour is being described as a fierce, soulful EP rooted in unapologetic truths. The EP was released today. Dennis spoke with Brandy earlier, who also did a performance.
Brandy, great to see you again. Congrats on the new EP as well. As I mentioned, the EP Grit and Glamour being described as fierce, soulful, and unapologetic. Brandy, what would you like people to know about the new music?
I really want people to focus on my songwriting. I've really taken the last few years to work with songwriters, incredible songwriters across North America, and develop my team. And I just really want people to see me first and foremost as a songwriter and a singer, and see my growth as an artist.
You and Scott Nolan are going to bless us with a performance of the new song Paper Town, which I think is a track that's going to resonate with a lot of one industry towns right across this country. Can you tell us a bit about the song?
Yeah, so this one is about the fragility of industry and community. I grew up in and out of Pine Falls. I lived with my favorite uncle who worked in the mill, in the Pine Falls paper mill, for over 2 decades. And when the mill closed, it broke his heart. And my uncle passed away in January 2022. And we were best friends my entire life. So this song, the idea came to me. And Scott and I were both at a festival in Kenora in 2022, and I was just talking and telling him about all the paper mills. Pine Falls was the only paper mill on the prairies, but I was telling him about the paper mills in northwestern Ontario, how they had closed. And I said, my uncle was 46 years old when the mill shut down. And Scott said, you need to start with that line. And I asked him if he wanted to write it with me, and I cried through the entire song, writing it, and then adding the instrumentation. And it came from another place. And when we shot the video in town in Pine Falls, and people of all ages came out, and they were wearing safety jackets that everybody in town would have, the whole community. It got me in my heart, because people lost so much. They lost their sense of being able to provide for themselves, and people had to move, and it broke my uncle's heart. So it makes me emotional. But it definitely had to come to life.
Yeah, somebody who worked in Northern Ontario for a long time. I think the song will resonate with many up that way as well. Brandy, hard to believe it's been almost 3 years since we did an episode of Face to Face together. At that point, you were only a couple of years into, as you said, doing this professionally. I guess, how would you describe the last couple of years in this career?
It's been incredible, but you know what? I have to have the humility to say I was a school teacher. I was an unhappy school teacher who got hit by a semi, who had the courage to go for what I want. I've had to learn everything. I've had to learn how to advance my shows, how to create a stage plot, all of the things. So, Marty Stewart said you need to have a briefcase in one hand and a guitar in the other. So I've been studying and learning and joining as many things as I can, and making friends, genuine relationships within the music industry, because it is an industry and it's tough. But I also think this EP gives me the opportunity that, I've taken more ownership of who I am as an artist and what I want to continue to say. And yeah, it's been a lot, but it's incredible how, the opportunities that continue to evolve and happen, and the wonderful people that I get to work with, that I think I've really grown.
Nice. Brandy, I know you love to perform. Festival season is upon us, or pretty dang close. Where can people catch some shows? I'm
going to be at the Burt Block Party, which is an amazing opportunity here in Winnipeg. I'm going to be at Summer in the City in Steinbach. I'm going out to Nestor Falls for their Moose and Fiddle Festival. And I will be playing also some shows throughout Winnipeg as well. But those are some big ones. Check out on my website. I have a summer poster tour coming out. And yeah, I'll be out and about.
And I'll be out and about at some of those things. Looking forward to seeing you, Brandy, out there. Congrats on the new EP.
Thank you for having me.
"46 years old when the mill shut down. We started at the Rusty Nail. It ended up at Paper Town. Picture in a frame, him on the picket lines. Tell my friends I ain't coming back. Tell my mama that I'm doing just fine. Sonny's chicken house, Robbie showed up drunk again, saying something about remember when we were on the charging floor, men. Ray J stayed in town, he kept the Strangers couple alive. The Stones went to the Nationals, those were very good times. Oh, kings of Paper Town. Here where sorrows drown, just another company town, where an old black train is all that remains of what life used to be. Juke was drinking and dialing, 28 sleeps to go. No more crying to the radio. Daddy, when you're coming home? All down Cherry Street, vacant houses boarded up, back roads and pickup trucks, out of time and out of luck. Oh, kings of Paper Town. Here where sorrows drown, just another company town, where an old black train is all that remains of what life used to be. Here where sorrows drown, just another company town, where an old black train is all that remains of what life used to be. 46 years old when the mill shut down. We started at the Rusty Nail and ended up at Paper Town.
Beautiful lady with a beautiful voice. That's all the time we have for your daytime newscast for Friday, June 6th. I'll be back at 6 p.m. Eastern with your evening newscast. From all of us at APTN, Egase, Gitam, Kawapamitinano.